All right. It has been a while, a very long while since we have talked about Cole Caufield, one of the Montreal Canadiens' top prospects, if not their best prospect in the system. With the University of Wisconsin Badgers wrapping up their season, let's talk about everything. Let's make this big video talking about the points, the records, the goals, and the future as to what Cole Caufield has in store. This is our big Cole Caufield update, and I'm very happy to share it with you here today. Let's talk about what happened in the University of Wisconsin's most recent games that they played. They played 2 games against Ohio State University on Friday and on Saturday. On Friday, the Wisconsin Badgers won that one with a score of 3-2. That was pretty nice. Our boy Cole Caufield was over here. He got himself 1 assist on an Alex Turcotte marker earlier in the season. And then, yesterday, the Badgers also played Ohio State. This one was a 3-3 tie. Cole Caufield got himself 1 assist on Tyler Inamoto's goal at the end of the 3rd period. That's good enough to wrap his season up at 36 points in 34 games played. Now, we will say that these numbers will get bigger as the days go on because the playoffs still have to happen. In fact, every team in the Big Ten Conference, they all make the playoffs, so the Wisconsin Badgers have a few more games to go against the Ohio State University hockey team. It will be a best 2 out of 3 series. So that's going to go on later on this week. We will see what Cole Caufield is able to do then, but for now, because the regular season is over, that's why we're making this video. Cole Caufield wraps things up with 36 points, 19 goals, and 17 assists in 34 games played. Now, that's no goal-a-game record. That's no NCAA goal-scoring record. There were some people at the beginning of the year after Cole Caufield was at I think 6 goals in 3 games or whatever. He was at some crazy 2-goal-a-game stat to start off the year. And because of that, some people had Cole Caufield as the guy to break the NCAA goal-scoring single-season record, but with 19 goals in 34 games, he is nowhere near that. However, of course, there are some very good things to take a look at from Caufield's statistical profile, despite the fact that he didn't break the goal record, which, I'll be honest, it wasn't in my realm of possibility. I said this several times that I didn't think he was going to do that, but 19 goals in 34 games as a freshman is still very good. In fact, being over a point per game as a freshman is still pretty good. In fact, having more goals than assists is still pretty good. Let's take a look at some stats as to how good Cole Caufield has been relative to the rest of the Big Ten. Then we'll take a look at the rest of the NCAA in its entirety. This is a stat here from Chris Peters on Twitter. Cole Caufield had an assist on Tyler Inamoto's late game tying goal, which gives him 24 points in conference play. That means games that are only played against other Big Ten players. He'll win the Big Ten scoring title, becoming the 2nd freshman since Kyle Connor in the conference's brief history to win it. So, among every player in the Big Ten playing against other Big Ten players, Cole Caufield has the most points with 24. In the NCAA in its entirety, he has 36 points. 24 of those points came against other Big Ten opponents, so he's got himself the scoring title and is the first freshman since Kyle Connor to win that. In fact, let's take a look at Big Ten players amongst the rest of the NCAA. His 36 points is good enough to put him as the 2nd best guy in the Big Ten this year when you take a look at points scored against other conferences. The best scorer in the Big Ten was Nathan Successi, and he's 23 years old. So that's a pretty nice stat here. First in the Big Ten Conference for points against Big Ten competition, and 2nd in the Big Ten Conference in points in general. That's a pretty nice number for a guy who was playing on the worst team in the Big Ten. It's actually kind of whack. Wisconsin was supposed to be really good this season, but They let in a whole bunch of goals. They were first in goals against in the Big Ten by far. 124 goals, whereas the next goal against team, Minnesota, had 94. But obviously, talking about the Big Ten stats, that is only in the Big Ten Conference amongst the 7 teams that make up the Big Ten Conference: Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Minnesota, Notre Dame, Michigan State, and Wisconsin. Let's talk about Cole Caufield with the rest of the NCAA. The NCAA has 60 total teams. Yeah, that's right, 6-0. The Big Ten is only one of the 7 conferences that exist. Well, actually 6. Arizona State is in a conference of their own. They don't really have a conference, quote-unquote. So, Cole Caufield this season in the NCAA with his 36 points is good enough to put him all the way over there in a tie for 21st in the entire league in points. He's doing a pretty good job keeping up with all these players who don't happen to be freshmen. Taking a look at the goals, Cole Caufield is over here in a very big tie for 8th in the nation in goals. He's tied with Tyce Thompson, fellow freshman Alex Newhook, Mark McAllis, Tyler Madden, and Max Humitz. So, right there, it's a 6-way tie for 8th in the NCAA in goals. Cole Caufield is over there with 19. Now let's take a look at freshman points in general, because this is actually a pretty interesting stat too. These are freshman stats amongst the entire NCAA. Cole Caufield was 3rd in freshman points with his 36 in 34 games played. Alex Newhook, taken by the Colorado Avalanche later in the draft, was 1st with 40. The guy's an absolute stud. Then Nick Abruzzese was 2nd in the league, but it should be noted that Abruzzese is indeed older. He is not the same age as Caufield or Newhook. He was born earlier. Trevor Zegras is 4th behind Cole Caufield. Shane Pinto is over here, Alex Turcotte, all these other players, Matt Boldy, Bobby Brink, these guys who were very high-profile players in the 2019 NHL entry draft. Now, going over to the goal-scoring side of things for the freshmen, it's Caufield tied with Newhook for 1st in the nation in freshman goals with 19. Shane Pinto is 3rd with 16. Then it goes Abruzzese, Moynihan, Berglund, Zegras. You see how it goes. So Cole Caufield is over here finishing up a pretty successful NCAA season, but what exactly is the plan going forward into the future? Well, there was an article here on pluslapresse.ca talking about Marc Bergevin, and he has some quotes here that are in French, but we will talk about this in English because somebody in the Reddit post commented down in the comments and actually translated these quotes, so we'll be reading that from here. This is what Marc Bergevin has to say about Cole Caufield. He says, Caufield is having a good year in the NCAA. In our eyes, he's not ready. We'll take a decision at the end of the year. If he wants to quit university, we won't force him, but we'll encourage him to stay in Wisconsin. This doesn't mean it's a disappointment. We're thinking of the best for his long-term development. We're still having internal discussions. It's also possible we'll see him in Laval next year, but it may also be difficult, since of course it's a men's league. So that kinda lays out the pavement now. It seems like Cole Caufield is going to try to at least be convinced to take another year at the Wisconsin University Badgers program. So, yeah, anybody who is willing to see Caufield in a Habs jersey at the end of the year, we might not have that. We really might not. In fact, I actually would be okay with Caufield taking another year in university because, you know, there's nothing to lose by having him hone his craft and totally dominate the NCAA scene next year, because he already was over a point per game this year as a freshman. I have no doubt that if you give him another year at 19 years of age, he's going to go over there and he's going to be able to do things better than before. Maybe bringing him over to the NHL right away would be a little bit premature, but if they actually decide to do that because Caufield himself wants to do that, then I will step on board with that as well. I don't think there's a wrong move here. I think, however Caufield gets developed, he's going to have a good NHL career by the time he's 21, 22, 23, and he'll break into this league just fine. But the path to get that, obviously, as a fan just sitting in my chair talking about him, that's not up to me. But whatever decision does go on, I will support it, and I just thought I would include that here in this video since we're talking about Caufield as well. So I hope you enjoyed this Caufield update, Social Dice Cross 99, and bye.